Well, hi everyone. Oh, welcome to March. I don't know if you live in the Winston-Salem area, but if you do, it is the absolute most perfect day ever. So I believe that we all get extra points for being inside on Aging Well right now, because you know what? We all should be together outside in a park somewhere. But since we're not and we're inside, let's make the very most of aging well. And first of all, always thanking our team. So Tom Roth with our CTSI, Courtney Hayes with our Pepper Center on Aging, and Audrey Belfaro with our Alzheimer's Disease Research Center. This is the team. I'm Deb, and you see me, but they are the ones who really make this all work. Tom Roth is a genius when it comes to making all the technical pieces of this come together so beautifully, and Courtney and Audrey make sure that everything is running the way it's supposed to. So, honest to goodness, I'm the weak link in this. I thank you all so very much. And again, a loving today, and hopefully it's going to stay nice. Maybe one more day before Mother Nature kind of pulls a little prank on us. But anyway, welcome to March. I hope everyone is having a great month so far. And if you're not wearing green, you know, you could get pinched on St. Patrick's Day. Now, it could be that you want to be pinched. So if so, wear pink, wear purple, wear blue. But you know what? If you're wanting some good Irish food, there is a wonderful restaurant in High Point, and it's called the Claddock Restaurant and Pub. And the owners, Terry and Myra Cromer, were wonderful, gracious hosts and invited us in to demonstrate and share the recipe of O'Grady's fried chicken. And then Myra is taking us through these two delicious looking cocktails. It was during work, so I did not get to try the cocktails, but they look amazing. So we're going to turn it over to Claddock and show us how to eat Irish.
Well, thanks, Deb. And Aging Well, I appreciate you guys coming out today. Clatta Restaurant and Pub in High Point, North Carolina. I'm Terry Cromer, and I'm going to cook up a dish that we kind of made ourselves that's kind of got some Irish flair to it. Again, I'm going to go through all the recipe, ingredients, show step by step how to do this dish. It's very simple, and it's very popular here at the Clatta Restaurant and Pub in High Point. So we start off with a fresh chicken breast, all white. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do a little seasoning, a little salt, both sides. Then I'm going to throw a little bit of just all-purpose flour. Then we're going to stick it in some buttermilk, just regular buttermilk. Coat that real good. Put it back in the flour. Back in the buttermilk. And then we're going to drop it in our deep fryer at 350 degrees. Okay, so we've got the deep fried chicken going. We're going to let that cook for right about 7-8 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and get my sauce ready. We use fresh asparagus, just about 4 pieces here. I'm going to just saute it up so it looks good. And we're going to put that right in the pan here. Going to season that up with a little bit of seasoning salt. A little bit of oil. Now this is where we put in a little bit of our Bushmills Irish whiskey. Okay. Going to saute that up a little bit. And we're going to get that nice and sauteed. That's going to cook off, obviously. Now we're going to add a little bit of heavy cream. It's just regular heavy cream you can purchase in any store. Just about 3/4 of a cup. Then we're going to add a little bit of basil. Just about a half teaspoon. Let that cook out for about a minute. Then we're going to put a thickening agent in there. And I just use cornstarch and a little water, and it's a thickening agent. We're going to stir it up. If you mess that up and it gets too thick, you can always add a little more heavy cream. Get it back to a little more liquidy instead of too thick. That's done. Chicken's done. Now we're going to plate it up. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to put our freshly prepared garlic mash in here. And I do 2 scoops just to give it a nice little height to it. And we make that fresh here at the Clatta. Going to come back over here and grab my chicken breast that's done. Grab our sauce. And just do a nice little drizzle over. And I just do a little bit of roasted red pepper, give it a little garnish. Nice little flavor to it as well. And just a little bit of, and there we have it. O'Grady's fried chicken, freshly prepared just for you. Now come see me and the whole staff here at the Clatta Restaurant and Pub. Of course, this is March, St. Patrick's Day month. We've got a great event going on. And again, we appreciate Deb and Aging Well coming out with us and hope to see you soon.
I'm Myra. I'm gonna show you how to do a mat slide. Put a 1/4 of the Kahlua, 1/4 of the Jameson, and add some cream. Then you shake. After that, you add some chocolate syrup on your glass. Pour it. Add some cream on it on top. And come enjoy this drink at Clatta and High Point. Come and see me. If you don't know how to make it, I will show you, or I made it for you. Hi everyone, this is Myra from Clatta and High Point. I'm gonna show you how to make a blueberry rum and smash. I put 1 ounce and 1/4 of Malibu, 2 ounces of blueberry jam that we make in here in the house. Then we put some lemon juice. We shake it a little bit. And after that, we add it to the jar. Finally, we add some ginger ale. And there you go. You can come and join us at Clatta High Point and have a blueberry smash drink.
And y'all know that on St. Patrick's Day, calories do not count. You know that, right? Anyway, that's my story and I'm sticking to it. But again, they've got a lot of fun things planned for this month and especially on St. Patrick's Day. So it would be a great place to hang out. And speaking of a great place, if those of you who live or visit Winston-Salem, Reynolda House Museum of American Art is one of the most amazing resources. I would say it rivals museums in other large cities. It's so much fun and so beautiful, and it's in our backyard. And they have a new exhibit starting today, March 10th, over there, and it's called, I want to get this right, Layered Looking, Making Sense of Art. And so it was great for me to get to go over and have a little preview of this. And Julia Tanner is going to give us a tour and really kind of explain the nuances of this brand new exhibit. But literally, it opens today. So y'all are some of the first people that are hearing about it. So I would encourage you to make haste over to Reynolda House.
Thanks, Deb. It's great to be part of Aging Well. My name is Julia Tanner, and I am the Director of Teaching and Learning at Reynolda House Museum of American Art, where we are today. I'm also the curator of this exhibition, Layered Looking, Making Sense of Art. And part of the idea of this exhibition is, well, it's what happens when you give an educator a chance to curate an exhibition. I often encounter people that feel like they need to know something to look at art. And they feel a little bit intimidated. And you know, we're museums, it's our job to protect the art, so we can seem a little fussy. But I really want people to know that everything that they have already, all the life experience that they bring to looking at a work of art, is all they need. It's just about slowing down and looking. And this exhibition offers a variety of pathways for people to look at art. So it may be that you haven't found a way that you like to look at art. I offer some suggestions. One thing, at the start of the gallery, we have a prompt. We invite you to take a prompt card, and there's a variety. The one that I drew this morning says, find a work of art that makes you curious. Imagine a new title for it. So that's one thing that you can use to guide your looking. Behind me, we have a section with another way. This is engaging the senses. And you can see behind me, there is a panel with some silver buttons. And if I were to press one of those, it would play snippets of sound, some sound effects and some music. And then you can look at the works of art in this section and see if that music ties into it for you. There's a very dramatic sound that I look at a work with crashing waves, and I feel like it adds to the power of it for me. There's another section where we show you how you could look at the technical parts of a work of art, like thinking about how the artist is using color, line, shape, and how they're emphasizing, how they're drawing your eye. That's a way that a lot of art history textbooks will invite you to look at art. We have another section that is about connecting through creating. You know, my preferred way is, like, if I have trouble looking at a work of art and knowing what to do with it, my way in is, how did the artist make this? So process is a way for me, if I'm unsure about a work of art, it helps me think about it. And so that section is about, how did the artists make these works of art? And that's something to think about. There's another section that's sort of about, what do we do with research and information? How can we layer in looking and then adding in information as a way to think about works of art and increase our understanding and appreciation for what's going on. There's a section about embodying art, so inviting people to move their bodies to get information. So if you take the pose of a figure in a work of art, how does that give you information about what that person might have been thinking about, or how they might be responding to another person if it's a double portrait? And then finally, there is a section called Playing and Imagining. And there's a range of works of art from across the American history time. And there's prompts for thinking about these works of art. There's invitation to play. And later in this, we'll go into our play lab and we'll talk more about that. But one more thing about this exhibition. So this is on view at Reynolda today, March 10th through July 19th. And it pulls together works from our permanent collection. So if you have visited the museum before, you'll see some familiar works, but there may be some works that haven't been on view as frequently. There might be new to you. So you might be able to make some new friends. And my invitation is for people to come and really try to slow down and let the art talk to you in whatever way that might be. Maybe it has something to say to you the way that a book might, or a moving work of dance or theater. This is an opportunity to slow down and look. So let's also now go to our play lab at the center of the gallery that invites a playful approach and a chance to engage with the art. So in the play lab here, this is a chance for people to touch various objects and make direct connections with works of art. So we have a work of art here by Alan Shields that he's made a print and has woven pieces together. And so with that, we have a weaving wall where people can play around. And I see that people have already begun to work on the diagonal in connection with this work of art. So that's delightful. Then we have another activity that's to connect with one of our paintings. Emmanuel Leutze painted a picture of his friend Worthington Whitridge painting on an easel, but he doesn't let us know what Whitridge is painting. So here, you get to imagine it. And what do you think he might be painting? At this station, we are inviting people to connect with a work of art where Louise Nevelson made Full Moon in 1980, and she layered pieces of found wood that she'd found, and then she painted it all black. And this is a chance to think about how you might arrange shapes to create a composition in the way that Nevelson did. And so we've got blocks here to play with. We have selected some books, mostly for younger audiences, a few for adults, to think about making connections with the collection or with thinking and looking about art. Over here in this section of the gallery, we have a station that has light and reflection, because some of the works of art use color really boldly and reflection as well, and symmetry. And so this is a chance, particularly for younger audiences, to think about reflection and how you can double an image with a mirror and things like that. Then over here, shape pictures. There are some artists who have used shape really intentionally and simply, like we have, and I'm just showing you the reproduction here of Lionel Feininger's Rainbow 2, but he's making sailboats out of triangles, essentially. And Nam June Paik used squares and rectangles and gears to create a robot. So here's a chance for people to think about how they can put simple shapes together to make a design. So like we have a vase of flowers here with simple shapes, just with triangles. And then finally, there is a really fun work of art that's embossed that Harry Smith made. It's got a lot of circles and loops, but he was inspired by string figures. And in Western culture, we play cat's cradle with a loop of string. There are other cultures that use string to tell stories, and it has great cultural significance in spending time and sharing stories from the culture. So he was fascinated by that, and that sort of played out into his art. So there's a chance for people to connect with the work of art in that way. So it's not often that you find a play area inside an art museum gallery. So we've dedicated this space for that play. And there are some other touch points, literally places where you can touch in the gallery to try and help continue those connections. So this is a unique opportunity for Reynolda, for people to be able to engage with the art in another way. So please come visit. We open today, March 10th, and I look forward to you coming to visit and exploring this gallery yourself.
And I hope you figured out, I dropped the sound out when I was giving you the tour because the gallery was very busy. It was a media day preview and it was very busy, very loud. And I wanted you to get to enjoy some of the pieces that Julia talked about. And one thing that's very important for y'all to know is that while there is admission to this exhibit, you can go by the libraries in town, and check out a pass to visit this exhibit, and then you will return it just like you would any kind of book. So there is a no cost way for you to get to visit and enjoy this exhibit. And I would really encourage y'all to, because you just saw a tiny taste of what there is to offer. And it was just so fun and really just a different way to look at art. You saw all the little panels where it says touch me or please touch. It's so unique in a museum setting that you're encouraged to touch things that bring extra enhanced senses of enjoyment for these works of art. So anyway, please, please, please take advantage of this exhibition. And now we're going to get to our speaker. Officer Veryl Costner is with our Winston-Salem Police Department. He is going to share with us insights of how we can all stay safe. Enjoy life, but while we're doing it, we're going to be staying safe. So anyway, Officer Costner, I'm turning it over to you.
Thank you so much, Deb. So, everyone, welcome tonight. It is a pleasure, as everyone has said, to be here with everyone. Again, the PowerPoint I know will be available by what Ms. Deb has told me for everyone when I finish. I'm going to start sharing that PowerPoint with you now. And we're going to talk about some ways just to keep you safe. A little bit about myself. So my name is Officer Costner with the Winston-Salem Police Department's Community Resourcing Unit. I am a 23-year veteran here of the Winston-Salem Police Department. Absolutely love what we're doing here and what you guys are doing, taking your safety well and making sure that we stay safe. I know there have been a lot of questions that have gone around, especially with everything in the climate that we're in today. And that's what makes this presentation even more important. So without further ado, let's go into our presentation here. Let's see here. All right. And again, I want to make sure that everyone can now see the presentation here. Okay, so again, we're going to be talking about the older adult safety, just ways that you can stay safe in your community, as well as make sure that if you have others that you care about, it kind of gives you a nice little portion for them, just as we're going through our day-to-day to make sure that we're being vigilant and as safe as possible. Some of the objectives we're going to talk about today, we're going to talk about defining older adult, identify why older adults are vulnerable to crime, review the personal safety tips, and society do's and don'ts, and examples of those do's and don'ts. So the first thing we have here is defining an older adult. I like to say this: an older adult, variably defined as a seasoned or retired person. This term generally refers to someone who is at least 60 or 65 years of age. Again, it doesn't mean that's always the case. Sometimes I always say that age is a state of mind, but that is generally what we consider one of our older adult populations. The big question is, why are older adults more susceptible to theft and or fraud? Well, a lot of times it is because of these simple reasons. One, as you get older, of course, you're going to be finishing your career, so you should have access to money because you're going to be in your retirement age. Some of us are going to have pensions and different things that we've done since we have accumulated our wealth over our time frames. Also, it's your desire to continue independence. As we get older, we want to make sure that a lot of times we don't want to feel like we are a burden to someone else. So we want to keep our independence. We worked hard for that. A lot of times your adult population is polite and trusting. Sometimes that can be to your detriment. I'll explain that a little bit further when we go on with the presentation. And also, the biggest obstacle in the room, or the elephant I like to call in the room, is age-related conditions. Sometimes as we get older, our bodies just don't respond like they used to when we were spring chicken. Some of the personal safety tips in theft prevention. So we're going to talk about some of the common items that are stolen when we have these things, or theft, or people that are going to take things from you. But we're also going to talk about your personal safety in different environments. We're going to talk about your personal safety when you're at home, your personal safety when you're in your vehicle, and your personal safety when you're in and out, or while about and out, what we like to call it. The first thing is some of the common items that may be taken. When we think about someone trying to come inside of our home, or things that are going to be taken from us, a lot of times people will say, well, what are some of the common items that most people target if they're coming after your older adults? Those things are going to be, of course, cash, electronics, jewelry. The biggest one is medication. Most people, they say, well, medication, why is medication? Unfortunately, we do have a problem in society to where medication can be used for illegal medications. And so some of those items that you may need in your adult life, that are just things that keep aches and pains away from us, other people are using those for illegal drugs, okay? Firearms, tools, your identity, cars, and sometimes bicycles. So how can we be safe where we're inside of our home, or our personal safety? The first one I would like to say is this. When you're at home, a lot of times I know we become very secure when we're in our homes. And if someone comes knocking on the door here in the South, we may go to that door and open that door immediately without looking out, or not even questioning. Sometimes we may yell out, I'll be there in a moment. I know a lot of people now have Ring cameras or different things, and you can talk through those devices. But I want you to understand that never open your door automatically. Never leave your door unlocked. A lot of times I have seen that, to where people will leave their doors unlocked. They're very trusting of their neighbors, but it's not your neighbors sometimes that's going to harm you. It could be outsiders that are coming inside casing areas. So never open your door automatically. Lock your doors and windows. You'd be amazed at how many times someone, right now we're in that season to where we have spring versus winter. And more or less like today, we're at 70 something degrees. So maybe you need to have some fresh air come in, and you open up that window. Late at night, you go close that window, but the question is, did you lock that window, or did you lock that door, that front screen? So make sure you're locking your doors and your screens when you are finished with those. Keep your garage doors locked. Again, another one, I like to say, when you're going in and out of your garage, the biggest thing is being vigilant when you're coming to your home or when you're leaving your home. A lot of these devices now, they're what we call smart devices, and they can open from many different things, but understand that also those can be what we call cloned. In other words, someone can come in, and if they're close enough to your device, they can use another cloning device to scan that device and get your information. Now, why that's dangerous is, while you're home, they could come inside of your home when you're there. Most of the times they like coming when you're away. So if you're away from your home, that's when they're going to take that opportunity to use that clone device, open up a garage door, and then go inside of your home. Okay. So keep your garage doors closed and locked. Vary your daily routines and routes. A lot of times we would get into a routine to where we would go out. Maybe we go jogging early in the morning. Let's say we're going out at 7 o'clock in the morning, and then we're coming back about 8 o'clock. And so what happens then is if someone is watching you, that is a moment for them to take that opportunity to say, okay, well, I know they're going to be gone from 7 o'clock to 8 o'clock. They're walking their dog, or I know I normally see them jogging. So sometimes vary your routes so that no one can say, well, I know a time frame that they're going to be here or be away. Okay. Keep an inventory with serial numbers and photographs. That's important a little bit now. So if something is taken, I know a lot of times we have family heirlooms that we've collected since we were little, and or we have things in our homes that computers, different things that have serial numbers. Make sure that you're recording those and locking those up in a secure location so that if someone were to get a hold of these things, let's say some of them may go to a pawn shop, you would have those numbers to be able to give to the police so that we would be able to run those numbers so that if they're ever pawned or tried to be sold, we would have that number to give to them. I know at the police department, we used to say a lot of times to engrave a personal number sometimes on those items too. It's not really a bad idea if you do have something that you want damaged to put a personal engravement on there. Maybe it's just your initials, or maybe it's something that only you would know and in a location that only you would know. All right. Don't leave notes on your door or when you're going out. Now, in the great age of social media, a lot of times we will post when we're going on vacation, or we want to show when we're out on vacation. And I often tell everyone, please don't do that. If you're going to share what you did and how great your vacation was, be mindful that someone that may not love you as much as I do, or your friends and your families do, they may be watching these things, and that gives them the opportunity for them to do or create a crime. Okay. So don't leave notes on your doors. Also, don't leave things on social media. Someone, I know you may be asking the question, well, what about my mail? How do I get that? If you go to the post office, you'll be able to kind of tell them, hey, hold my mail for a while, especially if you're going to be gone for an extended vacation. Not a bad idea. Let a neighbor know that, hey, while I'm gone, I'm going to be gone here. A trusted neighbor that you're going to be gone somewhere so that they can look out for suspicious activity at your home as well. A big one is please, please, please don't hesitate to report a crime or suspicious activity. Many times when we go through these things, we will say, well, what may be suspicious to me, I don't think that requires the police. Understand that this is what we get paid to do. If something makes you feel uncomfortable and it makes you suspicious in nature, always, always, always let us know. Let us be the determination if that is going to be something that needs to be investigated a little more. Okay. I often tell people, especially when I'm out, I don't like the term a Karen. If you don't know what that is, that's someone that people typically try to say they're just snitching on people or telling on someone. You're not being a Karen when you're caring about your neighborhood and your citizens and your neighbors. Okay, you're being an active citizen, a vigilant citizen, giving vital information that can help the police and anyone else solve a crime in your area. So again, I like to tell people that Karen mentality comes from if you are doing something and you know that what you're doing is wrong, if you're just trying to get someone in trouble and they're not doing anything wrong, that may fit, but I do not like that particular saying because a lot of times it makes people not want to call the police, and we want vital information. So we need you out in the community, being our eyes and ears and letting us know what's going on in your area. So again, don't be afraid to report suspicious activity or crimes in your area. So when you're in your car, as you're driving around in your car, always keep your doors locked. Now, I know that we did have one to where when you come up, let's say that you're coming up on an intersection. I see this a lot in our city, and people will ask the question, well, what if you have a panhandler? What do you do about that? Again, that is a personal choice, but I will give you my personal opinion about that. Again, if you don't feel comfortable when that happens, and a lot of times you really don't know, that person is, remember, still a stranger. You don't know who they are or what they can do. So please make sure that you're keeping all your doors locked. That way, no one can jump in the car with you, whether you're in or out of your vehicle. Also, if you come up and you come on a panhandler, if you want to come back to that person or do something a little bit later, I understand that because it's just in our human nature to help people out. But understand that that is a risk factor. So, depending on time of day, how many cars you have behind you, you want to look at all of these things. If I have 6, 7, 8, 9 cars behind me and I have that, that may not be something that I'm putting myself in danger. But remember, again, if you're the only person on the street or it's late at night or there's no one else, again, you could potentially become a victim, and we don't want that. Travel in well-lit areas and busy streets and plan your route. I know the other day we did have we were taking the young man from the Forsyth County Sheriff's Department that was killed in the line of duty. We had everything blocked off on 52, and a lot of people were like, well, how do I get home? Or how do I do this? So always make sure that you plan your routes and have alternate routes. That's also going to help you if someone is following you. So if someone starts to follow you, the biggest thing I always say is don't go home. Always have a fully charged cell phone and make sure you call someone and tell them, hey, I have a suspicious car following me or something's going on. I don't feel comfortable. Here a little bit later, you're going to see what I say if you ever have an emergency inside of your car. But always plan your routes and have alternate routes. Don't leave your purse on the seat beside you or put it on the floorboard put it on the floorboard where it's more difficult to someone to grab it. Again, that's going to go back to the very first thing about locking your doors. If someone can kind of walk up to your car and see something, again, that gives them more of an opportunity to just kind of open your door and grab that and go. So always put that somewhere where it's a little bit harder to grab it if they were to just kind of open your door or reach through your window. Lock bundles or bags in your trunk. We typically do that near the holiday season, but again, it's for the same reason that you had the earlier one. If no one can see what's inside of your car, then it doesn't look appealing. So if I'm looking inside your car and I see jewelry and I see a laptop, or things that are expensive, I may say, hey, this person may have some things in their car. I need to just smash the window and go inside. So again, we want to make sure that we're taking our bundles or our bags and putting them inside of our trunk. When returning to your car, check your front seat, your back seat, and your floor before you enter. So if you're coming out of the mall, if you're coming out somewhere, always be vigilant when you're coming out of a building also. Very important that you're listening and hearing and seeing and even smelling what could be potentially outside that could be a danger. So when you're returning to your car, look around your car. Is someone parked beside your car, just sitting in what I like to call the Scooby-Doo van? Do you have anything on your car that you didn't put there? That is very important. We do have it right now. Assistant Chief Wilson Weaver, who used to be with us, he's now retired, used to say there's nothing happening in any major city that is not happening here in Winston-Salem. Again, I'm not trying to scare you. I'm just trying to prepare you. So when you see things like $100 bill on your windshield, okay, you may say, oh man, I really needed that $100 bill. Thank you. But here's what I want you to put in the back of your mind. What if that $100 bill is laced with a chemical that renders you incapacitated within seconds? All right. Again, that can be very dangerous because now someone can come over, grab you, put you in their car, and then your family will never see you again. So if you see something on your car, don't touch it. Again, contact the police department. Again, if you have to remove that, I would say if you have to drive off, if you see anything on there, if it's on your door handle and you have to a glove or something to get that off, or use another door to access your door, your driver's side door. But be very careful when you're returning to your car and check your front seats, your back seats, and your floorboard. It goes without saying, but please never pick up hitchhikers. People that are on the road that are just hitchhiking, again, as we kind of talked about with transients and our homeless population, they are still strangers. So you don't know their intentions. Again, I can't stress enough that I know in life we want to be good citizens, but we also have to be mindful that there are people that want to harm us. So let's not put ourselves in danger. If your car should break down, here's one that I was talking about earlier. Get as far off the road, turn on your emergency flashers, raise your hood, get back into your car, and lock your doors and wait for help. Now, I'm going to pause a little bit there because some of those things I'm just going to tell you. Make sure that you are very vigilant before you do them. So if you're going to get your car on the side of the road, that's going to be important because of your safety getting in and out of the vehicle. Okay. But if you get out of your car and let's say that you have people walking around you, now someone knows, hey, the car is broken down. Again, it kind of makes you more of a target. So always think about what you're going to do. That's why that cell phone is so important. You could call AAA, call a loved one, or let someone know, get someone on the phone with you so that if you're going to get out of your car, at least you have someone possibly FaceTiming them or talking to them so that if something happens to you, at least someone knows, hey, my mother, my father, my sister, my brother, my grandma, my grandfather, my child, they were here. Tell them where you're at so that if nothing else, they have the information to a starting point. Okay. So, personal safety in walking. Always plan your routes. We talked about that in the earlier slide. Stay alert of your surroundings. Walk with confidence. Run with confidence. Someone that looks like they're confident or someone that looks like they're not an easy target, people tend to say, well, let me find someone else that doesn't look confident. So if when you're running or you're walking, make sure that you're walking or jogging with confidence. Another thing we like saying, especially if you're a jogger, if you have to listen to your music, which I know a lot of times we like doing, make sure you at least have one of your ears that do not have anything in it that could potentially stop you from hearing a danger come towards you, whether it be a dog, whether it be a stranger running up to you, whether it be a car screeching their tires. So always have at least one of your ears actively listening to everything that is going on. Okay. Have a companion or company with you is always great to walk with a friend for lots of reasons. That way you can talk to someone and have time to pass away. Right. Stay away from buildings and doorways. Walk in well-lit areas. Again, we just had daylight saving time, so hopefully we'll be walking and doing everything when we have some light. But if you are one of those that jog or walk later in the day, maybe it's a little cooler, make sure you're staying away from buildings. Again, the reason we say that is so that no one can come out of that building, grab you and pull you in. Well-lit areas kind of speak for themselves so that someone can see you. All right. Have your keys ready when you're approaching a door. Now, that's going to be for personal walking safety as well as home safety. So, as you're getting back into your car or as you're coming to your home, make sure you have your keys ready to go inside of that door and inside of your home, your vehicle, or your business once you get there. Very, very, very important. Remember that looking both ways when we're out there. All right. Don't carry large or bulky shoulder bags. Carry only what you need. We like to say a lot of times in our personal safety class, only carry what you're willing to lose. Let me explain that. If I have only what I'm willing to lose, so let's say I have $20 on me, that $20 is not going to hurt me if I lose it versus if I have my entire check that I just had. Well, if I have my entire check, I'm probably going to do some things because I don't want to lose that livelihood that I wouldn't do if it's just something that's not going to hurt me so bad. Okay. So always remember, only carry what you need. All right. Telephone do's and don'ts. This is really, really, really big. Okay. So we get a lot of phone calls during the day. I know I do. Sometimes you may get the one that says, hey, grandma, grandpa, it's me. I just got picked up by the police. or your Medicaid card, or there's someone that's going to help you. I'm just calling here to offer you something very important to save you money. Or your services are going to be disconnected. Always make sure that you do one thing. Let's go to the very first one. Again, grandma, grandpa, it's me. I want everyone on this call to do me a huge favor, and that's I want you to contact your loved ones, and I want you to create a safe word. Okay, safe word. What? Okay, again, some people will say, well, Officer Costner, what do you mean by a safe word? That's simple. So a word only that you and your loved ones know, so that if they do have an emergency, when they call, they can use the safe word. So if I call and I say, Grandma, Grandpa, the police picked me up, I need $100. The thing that you can say is, okay, well, whoever that person is, what's our safe word? That's going to stop most fraud personnel and people that are trying to do something to you, because they're not going to know that word. And be very, very mindful that they are there to manipulate and to trick you. So they're going to say things like, I forgot it, or whatever else. Okay, guess what? If you have that person's number, hang that phone up, give them a call, or try to find out where they're at. Okay. That's going to save you and help you a lot. Medicaid and drug cards, and your phone will be disconnected, or it'll be disconnected. Again, you can always say, hey, great. Thank you for letting me know. Hang up, then make sure that you call the company. Don't call a number that they give you. You make sure that you look it up, find the customer service number, and then you call that business. All right. So cell phone scams. A lot of times I like talking about this one only because it kind of helps with your safety. So text messages and scams, again, we don't want to call numbers of someone that called us, or even hit a Trojan on that, because it could be taking all of our safety from us. All right. Um, Again, I talked about using passwords. Please don't store your personal information in your cell phone just in case you lose your cell phone. Be very, very cautious when it comes to apps on your cell phone. So something that looks too good to be true is normally too good to be true. Right? Your emergency contacts. That's going to be one that's kind of twofold. If something happens to you, a lot of times what people will do is they will go on your emergency contacts, or the people, or the person that you call the most, and we may call that person. But again, emergency contacts, just kind of be careful with those. And if you ever need help, but cannot speak, dial 911 and keep the line open. So let's say you're out and about and you can't talk, or something's happened to you, you have that. I know a lot of Apple products now have an alert tone to where you can hit an emergency button and it will give a distress call and even give you a location. If you don't know about that, I'll be glad to help you after the call is over. Some more do's and don'ts. Your woman in distress is kind of like what we were talking about earlier when we were talking about the panhandlers. So be very, very careful. Again, we want to help people, but we want to keep ourselves safe in the meantime. Phony police detectives, someone that's saying they're a police officer. Understand that police officers are required to wear a badge and identification. So do not be afraid to ask to see or call the local police station to see if detectives are in your area. So if someone says they are the police, whether it be us, whether it be the DEA, whether it be Secret Service, whether it be ICE, again, remember those things, and don't be afraid to, if they say that they're a part of another organization, to call us. We can make sure that we verify that, and or get a uniformed Winston-Salem police officer to your location. All right. So kind of a conclusion, and I like to conclude just a little bit earlier, just in case we have a question or a concern. But some of the things that we talked about was defining older adults, identify why older adults are more vulnerable to crime, review personal safety tips, and society do's and don'ts and examples. Okay. This right here is a reference. So sometimes people will say, well, how do we give some references to how to stay safe, or some of the things that are going on in our area or in our state? Again, we use the North Carolina General Attorney their information is up here at the top. You can see that one on the portal. Again, you should have access to this. So if you just ask Miss Deb, she should be able to get you this PowerPoint. Um, Aid safety for America. Again, just a nice safety tip. It says for seniors. Again, we don't like using that word. We like using older adults. Okay. Also, the Department of Justice, what we kind of see there for them. We have that there, as well as here at the Winston-Salem Police Department, the unit that I am in, which I call the Community Resourcing Unit. We do have our website right there. So again, I
What,
know Ms.
what
Deb, I
we are
don't know if you have
going to
questions.
do is we have already had some questions come in, and I'm grateful for that. Hang on just one second. I'm going to start reading them to you. One thing that I would like to say is, and I live in West End, so I live in downtown Winston, and our police officers are very good about letting us know about the non-emergency. So the number to call if something feels suspicious, because I know for me, I'm very hesitant to call 911 if it's truly not an emergency. But there are non-emergency numbers that we can call.
Yes, ma'am. So everyone on the call, I'm going to say this number. I'm going to give it to you twice. So the non-emergency number, again, if you have something and you say, well, I don't know if it fits the emergency, always remember this number here. The number is area code 336 773 7700. Let me say that one again. The number is area code 336 773 7700.
And another comment just came in that this person has the non-emergency number on their cell phone. So
Yeah.
they are, excuse me, right on top of things.
Yes.
Okay, one question is, does the Winston-Salem Police Department offer classes to the public?
We do. So the one thing again, when I was saying the community resourcing unit, if you ever want to have that, if you go to our main site, if you go to www.wspd.org, you can actually go down or search for a presenter or request a speaker. At that time, it'll give you just a list of some of the things that we have, and you put your information in there, and someone from our team will give you a call and see if we can schedule that. And we do have different things like Neighborhood Watch that we still have very active in our communities, and some other things that we do virtual training and in-person training. And the website sometimes, the city's website as well as the police website, sometimes will also tell you if we're having an event in your area.
Great. And this is a great question. I've never thought about this, but this person said their cell phone has a Wisconsin area code. If they dial 911, will the operator know that we're in North Carolina and not where the area code is?
Yeah, that is a very good question. So they're using the towers. When you call 911, what happens is it pings off of a tower. So when we have that, we will have a certain tower that that information goes to, and then it goes to our operator. So even if you are unable to say, hey, I'm here, what's going to happen is we're going to be able to start coordinating because of that ping. So we're going to go off what they call a ping. And we're going to be going to that area. And a lot of times it gives us a general location. And often what we'll do with officers, depending on what the call is or what we think it could be, especially if it sounds like danger, we're going to swarm that area to make sure that that person is safe. But yes, if you have a Wisconsin area code, that's fine. It doesn't matter because once you go in any area, they're going to be using the tower. So even if you travel outside of Winston and you're in the Charlotte area or Raleigh or Durham, it's always going to be going off that cell phone tower. But very good question.
Perfect. Well, one thing that my dad said to me when I was especially going off to college, he said, Deb, if someone ever comes behind you with what looks like police lights, you just keep going until you get to a populated area. He goes, you do not pull over. Now, would you say that is still good advice? Because I don't want you to think I'm trying to make a run for it, but I also, because you can buy those lights online now.
Yes, ma'am. Again, a very good question. A lot of times, what we always tell everyone, if you just acknowledge that you see the lights, so let's say that you put your hazard lights on and they're blinking, at least it lets the officer know that, hey, I see the lights. And then, even if you don't feel like that's a safe location and you go a little slower, what's going to happen is I would suggest that a few things happen. You put your hazard lights on. If you don't feel comfortable, again, remember, if you can't remember the non-emergency number, at that point in time, guess what? It's easy to remember 911 more than anything else. Hit 911. It's going to give you to an operator. Let them know, hey, ma'am or sir, my name is such and such. I have what I think may be an officer behind me. They have the blue lights, but I don't feel comfortable. I'm just letting you know. Can you please let the officer know as soon as I get to a comfortable location, I'm going to pull over. Or if they say, well, we don't have anybody in that area, well, could you please get someone because I do have blue lights behind me. So again, the biggest thing is turning on your hazard lights. Remember that fully charged cell phone, calling 911 in that area, and then letting the operator know so they should be able to transfer that information to whatever officer is pulling you over. And if
Perfect.
it's not one of our officers, at least with the sheriff's department or anyone else that we have in the area, again, if we know we have blue lights and it's not one of ours, at least it tells the police department, hey, we have someone that is utilizing emergency equipment to pull one of our citizens over. Let's get one of our officers out that way to make sure that whoever that is in their car is safe, as well as our citizen.
Right. Thank you.
You're
We've had a request. If you could please give the non-emergency number one more time.
I certainly can. So again, that non-emergency number is area code 336 773 7700.
You've gotten a lot of thank you text on here. So thank you, thank you. And one more thing that, again, not to appear to be paranoid, just cautious. Something that I learned when I lived in Utah and we did emergency preparedness training is that when you come into, say, a grocery store or your church or whatever, a group, an area, be aware of an exit strategy. That if God forbid, and I always say that because we never want that to happen, but if something horrible should happen, would you know what to do? Would you know the fastest way out?
You
What,
know,
what would you say to that?
Ms. Deb, that is absolutely phenomenal. We do teach that during our active assailant training. So always know when you go somewhere how to get in and how to get out quickly. Very, very important because what happens is we want everyone to be proactive and not reactive. The difference between the two is proactive. If you're in a building and you already know, hey, I have this entrance or this exit, or I'm reading the signs and it says utility closet or whatever we have there. At least if something happens in that area, you know about where you could get out quickly. And we always teach in the active assailant training not to deny what you're hearing and or seeing. And what I mean by that is if you're at the mall and you hear what you think may be fireworks, I want you to ask yourself this. When was the last time you heard a set of fireworks in the mall? You probably never had it. That means it's probably not fireworks. So make sure that you are getting out of there into safety quickly. So very, very good observation. Thank you so much for that.
Of course. Well, and this appears to be the last of our questions, but I'm grateful, so grateful for you making the time to share these insights with us. And some of them, frankly, are common sense, but I think we all need to be reminded of these quite often, just because life gets busy. And it's good to know that we know you're out there to take care of us, but I think first of all, we should be taking care of ourselves and each other. So thank you, officer. So do appreciate it. And yes, I will be sending out Officer Costner slides to everybody. So until April 14th, stay safe and enjoy this amazing weather. So we'll see you next time.